Hey everyone, this is Julian from the Binary Lab, and welcome to my living room. Cat tree in the back over here, TV area just behind this wall, and that's actually an air circulation device that I kind of very badly wrapped in vinyl. So, anyways, today in this video, I'm going to be talking about. It's going to be answering a question. The question is, what is the profitability of what's the average profitability of a forex trade versus a binary option trade? And by the way, anyone on this channel is more than welcome to ask any questions that you may have about forex or binary. So you can simply post a question beneath in the video comments below, or if you feel more comfortable, you can also send me an email, julian@thebinarylab.net. You should already be receiving emails from that address if you're subscribed to my mailing list. And if you're not already done so, go to thebinarylab.net. When you scroll the page, there will be a pop-up that will request you to enter your email address. Enter over there, and you'll receive regular email updates from me. So, on that note, also, I want to warn you that there are a lot of these trolls that they like to come onto my Facebook page, but more so on my YouTube, and they would kind of misspell my name, Julian Wong, and and they'll kind of like take a random screenshot and use that as a profile pic, or they'll even like grab the Binary Lab logo and misspell Binary Lab some way, and just basically like comment to your comment and ask them. They'll be asking you to email them at some really misspelled email address ending with @gmail.com. I do not use Gmail emails for any of this channel's purposes, so any Gmail email address is bogus. Okay, so coming back to this topic, what is the average profitability of a forex trade versus a binary trade? This is a question from one of my members in Binary Lab. He lives in Europe, so in the last couple of weeks, people in Europe are not able to trade with regulated brokers are not able to offer binary options to people in Europe and UK anymore. So at this period of time, that's also why I've set up this Forex learning group where I've been teaching Forex on weekly webinars that you can actually get into as well. Just read information in the video description down below and you can get into it as well. But anyways, if you've been trading binary, you're probably used to the fact that when I put $100 on the trade, then the return, if I get it right, okay, it's going to range from, let's say, like 77%. In an Asian session usually pay worse. London session, it pays a little bit better, usually maybe 80 something percent. And in the New York session where it pays a little bit higher, usually like 90 something. So just quick recap for binary payouts, it depends on the time of the day, and also sometimes it depends on if it's a public holiday or a bank holiday as well, because if there's bank holidays or public holidays, the payout rates can be dropped, like Independence Day. That is one of the big ones. Start of summer holidays, that's one of the big ones as well. So coming back to this question, like what's the average profitability of forex trade? If you'd like me to give it in a percentage, it's going to be a little bit difficult because it's subjective, and I can only answer in the capacity of what I teach, and even so, kind of depends. All right. The same cannot be applied across the board because there are people who trade forex different ways. Depends on the strategy, depends on the trade management. I've seen some trading strategies out there that are complete rubbish. I've come across just when scrolling my Facebook timeline feed, someone's showing off his showing off his forex results. He's saying, hey, he's captured a part of the screen that he shows that he's got 11 wins and 2 losses. And I observed one thing: a take profit that guy uses, not to say that I use, that guy uses a 20 pip take profit per trade, regardless of the asset. Okay, and his stop loss is 100 pips, regardless of the asset as well. So when you look at it, you look at the greens, it looks kind of great, but if you think about it, he's won 11 trades, and 11 trades, that's 220 pips. But every time there's a stop loss, poof, that's 100 pips. So net gain after 11 trades and 2 losses, 20 pips. What's the point? Back to square one, isn't it? So the way I teach is a little bit different. The way I teach Forex, if you've been watching my past couple of Facebook Lives or repost my Facebook Lives or some of the videos just on this channel, subscribe if you haven't done so. So I've basically mentioned that I do this in a very, very different way. I would say this is like a binary trader's approach to trading Forex, where as a binary trader for several years, I find that it's quite pointless to have a very big stop loss. A very big stop loss such as, you may hear a lot of Forex gurus, or you may come across like channels, forums, Facebook groups. You may download some PDF, you may check something on SlideShare, and it tells you that let's put the stop loss at the last swing high, at the last swing low. But for me, I do it very differently. I personally believe that from a binary trader's perspective, like, I don't need more than a few bars to know that this trade ain't gonna work. So applying that concept in the Forex, I keep my stop loss very, very tiny, the minimal as possible. Obviously not so small that it stops out all the time, but at the same time it stops out just where it would be nonsense to carry on this trade, because carrying on this trade, would just why would you take a bigger loss than a smaller one, right? No point. And by having the smaller stop losses, I'm able to, on the other hand, really stretch my profit ratios. So just in this past week, we've had about 4 or 5 take profits that were about between 3 and 4 times of the stop loss. And then there were several trades that we closed in the profit, or rather I would say stopped out in profit, because of the way of trade management that I teach. So I give members a way of choice. For example, you could use like the RSI as a means of an exit. You could use a moving average as a means of an exit as well, and using that to or you can even use a line as a means of exit, because I believe that all of these are dynamic forms of exiting a trade. And by having these ways of exiting a trade, you're actually able to lock in a profit while still riding the trend for as long as it can possibly be. So just to give you an example of how I do my trading, I would determine the minimum stop loss that is required to let this trade perform if it shall perform, and then I would basically project based on 2 or 3 different ways, like how far the take profit should be. So on a very good case scenario, it will go all the way and hit that take profit, and we may wind up with about between 7 or even like 9 times profit versus risk on some occasions. I wouldn't say every occasion, because once again, the last week, like I said, we had like 3 and 4x basically. That was some of the more common ones. And then the times that we stopped on a profit, it would be between about 0.6x to, so that's about 60%, okay? 60% to versus risk, 60% to about maybe 90%. So 60-90% of the risk, that's we get stopped out early. But because we stopped out early, that we actually minimize that risk, because we are actually dynamically shifting that stop every few bars. So that actually keeps us in the green a lot better. The way that I teach to do Forex over here in the Forex Learning Group is that you're going to cut your losers short and let your winners ride. So the way that the winners turning out as 300%, 400%, sometimes even like 1200% happened about 2 weeks back. You don't even need to be 40% profitable. I mean, 40% profitable would be very good, but you don't even need to be 40% profitable to be overall profitable, because of the risk reward. Should I say reward to risk? Okay. So just to quickly answer the question, depending on the strategy, depending on the trade management plan, if you're going with Forex Learning Group style of trading Forex, there is that very huge reward that if you are coming from a binary trading background and you're wondering like how much trades does it require, or how often do I need to trade, how much risk must I set in order to match my previous daily income through binary. So if you're basically doing binary with like 2% trades and on an average day, okay, I would say that there are times when the market is slow, there are times when the market is fast, and just on averagely saying maybe in 1 hour you can fit in like 7 trades, maybe you win 5 and lose 2, so that's a net of like it's another 3. Okay? So 3 times 2%, you're not going to get the full 2. You're not going to get like the full 2% rewards. It's going to come to about 5%ish, maybe even 4+% per day. And is that easy to get in Forex? Well, like on a daily basis, for me, I probably embark about on between 2 and 3 trades per day. I personally size the trades at about 2% risk each, and like if the conditions don't meet, sometimes I get a stop out. So on average, I would probably get about 3 stop outs every 3 days, right? So it's about a stop out per day, okay, so to speak. And I would get, how often does a trade hit a TP? I would say once every 2 days there will be a trade that hits a full TP, and the full TP would be within the range of like 5 to 9 times the risk. And then the other times it will be stopped somewhere in between, because either that I see a setup of a trade in the opposite direction, so I exit one, go in another, or perhaps like because of the dynamic stop loss that was taken perhaps due to RSI, because of moving average, because of a line drawn, and then that will be exited between like 60 and 60 and let's say about like 90, sometimes a little bit more than the risk as well. So overall, it's not difficult to actually hit similar profit targets that you would have previously done in binary, but there are some differences in the fact that it's not so instantaneous. It's not instant gratification. But on the flip side, is it good? Is it bad? Well, it depends. Okay. What I can tell you is that some people, and even me, I used to feel back then, okay, that when I traded Forex, I felt like stressed. I felt I need to babysit my trades. But now, I mean, when you know how the trade is being generated, when you know how to pick the trades, when you know the principles behind the trades, and able to trust the principles in these trades, you would actually basically leave the stop loss to take care of the trade when you're not at your terminal, or perhaps I tell my students that it's fairly safe to check every 2 bars, so it's fine. So if you're on a H4 chart, it does not have to disrupt your sleep or your lifestyle. Just check in a little bit. It could be on your cell phone, it could be on your computer. If conditions say so, just shift your stop. Shifting your stop to end the profit, locking in more profit. That's going to basically remove stress from that trade. So no matter what, you're protected. Okay. The other thing that I said, that could be a good thing, is that because when you're trading on the higher time frame, I teach my traders to kind of like set up the trade. You have to figure out your stop loss beforehand. Before any trade that you go in, you need to understand what your stop loss is going to be. And with the stop loss in mind, you can go to a position size calculator and to figure out what size of position you're going to be going in. So using this as a habit, and the fact that you got to size your trade before you even go into a trade, what is the chance of you so-called spamming your trades? stoning, whatever you may call it. 0. So if you've blown accounts in binary because you've overtraded by clicking that mouse too many times, that's not going to happen over here. Good thing. Reduces stress, increases your focus. The fact that you're preparing more for your trade puts you in a better frame of mind, and therefore, when you pick your trades, you kind of feel that it's an educated decision. All right. So once again, I know this is not a very direct answer to the question, but I just wanted to kind of cover all aspects that are required for me to answer you on this question of like the average profitability of a Forex trade. And once again, this pertains to the way I teach it over here in the Forex Learning Group. And if you wish to get into the Forex Learning Group, it is free. When you open a Forex broker account through the Binary Lab, and the details are provided in the video description. So just check which are the brokers that are offered. I update these on a regular basis, trying to include more. And if any one of these gives shoddy service, I wouldn't hesitate to take them out. At this point in time, I have the brokers that I've listed are well regulated, and I've also included one option where the people in the United States and Canada can also get into as well, without FIFO restrictions or leverage restrictions. Okay, so check out the description, and I look forward to seeing you in my webinars in the Forex Learning Group. Bye for now.